If you're launching a new podcast or trying to grow your audience, which is more important, audio downloads or video views? In this video, I want to give you a behind-the-scenes look of a recent podcast I launched. It has both a YouTube channel posting shorts and full-length episodes, and it has the audio RSS side as well. Both audiences are very different. I want to dive into the analytics to show you the difference between audio downloads, video views, and why they both matter, the difference between a discovery platform and a relational platform, and how recording and editing your content with Riverside will make it easy and fast so you can post your content everywhere. So earlier this year, we launched the podcast Primary Technology about tech news. We have both a YouTube channel here where we're posting full-length episodes. We started sharing segments of the show in landscape video, and we've been posting lots of shorts. And of course, because it's primarily a podcast, we have our audio downloads here as well. Now, when we first launched, because we had a wave of new followers and 5-star reviews, we actually hit the top 20 technology podcasts in Apple Podcasts. And while the initial launch was exciting and we got in those top charts, now that we're a couple months in, it's about that consistent, slow growth over time trying to grow that audience. And if you're in that growth phase, maybe you're in the first year of it or after many years and you're still trying to grow your show, it's important to be on both platforms. Both have an audio RSS podcast that anyone can listen to anywhere, and a video version of your podcast where you can post clips to Instagram, TikTok, and especially YouTube. When we think about YouTube versus audio podcasts, we're really talking about a discovery platform versus a relationship platform. For instance, here's our YouTube channel, and if I go over to the Shorts tab, you can see the view counts on these videos vary widely. Sometimes it could be in the few hundreds, sometimes in the couple thousands. And while sometimes a viewer of these shorts might become a subscriber to the channel, the true purpose of sharing the short form video is discovery. YouTube is a discovery platform where people are scrolling through shorts, things on their homepage will show up that YouTube thinks they'll want to watch, and you want your podcast content to have a chance of being shown to a potential viewer or listener. Even the long-form podcast, which we have here, created a playlist for all those episodes, you mark it as a podcast, and this also gets delivered to YouTube Music. You can see even our full-length episodes vary pretty widely when it comes to views. Some will get 1.4 thousand, some 2.4 thousand, and others are just in the few hundreds. Now, getting a few hundred views on a full-length video podcast is still great, and that means long-term you can still monetize this audience with AdSense, and YouTube is a great place to engage with your audience because there's actually comments and liking. But the important thing to remember is don't get down on the wide variance of view counts on your content, especially on things like YouTube and even more so TikTok and Instagram. Looking at the TikTok page for this podcast, we only have 31 followers, but as you can see, we have lots of different view counts, some in the couple thousands, many just in the hundreds, but this is primarily a discovery platform. Will someone follow your podcast in their audio player just by seeing a vertical video on TikTok? Probably not, but if they see clip after clip, engage with that short form video by liking it or commenting on it, maybe bookmarking it, that tells the algorithms of these social platforms to then deliver your future content to that same viewer. Then week after week to month after month of seeing your content on their platform, that viewer might one day become a listener. So primarily think about Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube as a discovery platform. That's why it's key to have that video portion of your content. But what does that look like for the audio side of your podcast? So these are the audio download analytics for Primary Technology, our podcast. You can see over the past 30 days, we actually do pretty good numbers compared to the video version. But if you see this trajectory, you see whenever a new episode drops, that's the spike in downloads. And if you look at the trajectory, even just over 4 weeks, there's that slow incline in viewers. It's not a lot. You're not going to see huge spikes where you have tens of thousands of downloads one week and just hundreds the next. But remember, the audio side of your podcast, that is a relationship platform. That means those who tune into your podcast and listen to the audio version, they're going to be much more engaged, invested in the content, and really listening for you or your co-host rather than just something they scrolled by on a social platform. And to prove that, all you have to do is look at the retention graphs for the video version of your podcast versus the audio. Here's our latest episode on YouTube. This has over 400 views, but as you can see, in an hour-and-a-half podcast, the average percentage viewed is only about 20%, and the average view duration is only 18 minutes. Here's the graph of when people drop off from watching and what percentage of viewers have stuck around after the half-hour mark. We're in the 20% or less. Compare that to the data you see in Apple Podcasts. If you log into Podcast Connect, you can actually see analytics per episode and get the same kind of retention graph. And you can see, while it does decline over the course of an episode, the average consumption for the audio version of this podcast is 75% compared to 20% on the video side. And even this fall off of listeners is much lower than that steep drop off that you see on YouTube, especially in those first few seconds. And this will be the case across all the episodes. And that is the main difference between your video viewer audience and audio listeners. Now, you will have some engaged video viewers who comment and watch every episode, and you might have some that just listen to an episode and never follow again. But that's why you should think of YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as discovery platforms. You need to be there so new audience members can find your content, find your show. And you also want those audio listeners because those are even more engaged and invested in your content, following episode after episode. And while it can feel really slow going at times, that consistent slow growth week to week for your audio podcast over months and years, that is an important audience to invest in. So how can you record your content to make it easy to distribute both video versions and audio, make those vertical clips? It might seem overwhelming. Well, not when you use Riverside to record. Riverside makes it easy to record high-quality video and audio with remote guests. That's how we record every episode of Primary Technology. And once we're done recording, you could generate AI show notes to quickly get titles and descriptions, then you can use on YouTube or on social media posts. Magic Clips automatically creates short-form content of your long podcast, and then you can edit further or download those vertical clips to share on YouTube Shorts and TikTok. And if you'd like to download your raw files, you can download the high-quality video and audio files for you and your remote guests. And every time you do screen shares or media board files, you get those as separate tracks as well. But the real power comes when you jump into the Riverside editor. If I click the edit button in the top right and create a new edit, you get a full transcript powered by AI, and I can edit my content just by selecting text, deleting it, and now I've edited my audio and video like it's a Word document. Riverside also automatically generates chapters down here. Then you can rename, edit, or move those. And for your long form video, click the three dots here and you can copy that chapters list, paste it in the description of your video. This way you have those nice chapters when someone's watching your long form content. They can jump around and watch what they'd like. Also, any screen shares you do during the recording will show up here in the Riverside editor automatically. You can customize your video with a custom background or logo so it's on brand. You could change the layout of the tracks, who's on top or on bottom or side to side. And if someone had background noise or maybe had to record with a built-in laptop mic, we have a new feature called Magic Audio. You can apply it to the entire project, or you can go over to the track section and apply Magic Audio per track. This will make anyone's microphone sound studio quality. You can also add captions to your video with a highlight color so the active word is always highlighted in the captions. We now have text overlays so you can do lower thirds, URLs, maybe it's a sponsor website, change the font style and move it around the frame. And if you want to edit it via the timeline, I can click down here, split our sections, and once they're split, I can move them around down in the timeline or even insert other clips, maybe it's a sponsor break, and I can upload other content, choose other recordings from my studio and import those, add an intro or outro clip, and Riverside makes it easy to export both the video and audio version of your edit. So I can export a 4K video, normalize audio levels so everything's the same volume, export this video, and then you'll see this pop up, and I can choose to keep editing. That will retain all the cuts and edits that I made. I can go up to export, and now choose an MP3 audio file for my audio podcast host. And now I've quickly created a long-form video, long-form audio, and those short-form vertical clips via Magic Clips. Now that they're finished generating, I can click Show All, and look at all these Magic Clips generated from one video podcast. We use AI to title each Magic Clip so you know what it's about. They're all about a minute long, which is perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and Reels. Then you can even go into further editing each Magic Clip, zoom in, precisely change the in and out point, add those captions, and create multiple short form clips from a single video podcast. So if you're ready to grow your show, be on both platforms, video and audio, and record with Riverside so you can easily create all those different versions and your short form video with just a few clicks. If you'd like to learn more about the Riverside editor and all the powerful features, including new ones coming very soon, I'll put a video right up here about the editor. And if you're starting out and you need some help creating a podcast setup like microphone, cameras, video switchers, and audio interfaces, we have lots of videos on that as well. I'll put a video right up here that talks about setups for all different budget levels. Before you go, subscribe to the Riverside channel. We have lots of great content coming soon. Hit that like button, and if you have any questions, leave a comment below this video. I answer those personally. Thanks for watching. We can't wait to see what you create.